Hi, it's Jen. Today I wanted to share with you the rest of my advent calendar tags that I'm making for this year. In my last video I showed you how I made an icicle for some of my advent calendar tags, and today I thought I would show you the rest of them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using some corrugated cardboard to make these. And the shape I decided to do was snowflakes. I thought it would be really appropriate to use snowflakes and icicles, because when I first started doing this I thought I would just do all snowflakes, but then when I was looking at them it was just a little bit too much, so I wanted to break it up using these icicles, and so I thought that'd be cute, combining the two, snowflakes and then icicles. And so today I'm going to show you how I made my snowflakes, and in my last video I showed you how I made those icicles, and I will link it above for you if you're curious how I made them. And so the snowflake shape that I did use came from a Stampin' Up! Thinlits, and it's from Festive Flurry. That's what they're called. And if you don't have any Thinlits or Big's Die of snowflakes, I looked up on Pinterest coloring sheets, snowflake coloring sheets for kids, because if you look up that way it will give you a nice outline of a snowflake, and then you can just put it into your computer and size it the way you want, and then you can just trace that out on to the corrugated cardboard once you print it on cardstock, cut it out and then trace it onto the cardstock. That would work as well if you don't have Thinlits or dies. But since I didn't have a nice die that had a nice outline shape of a snowflake, I have one that is a little bit more intricate and it wouldn't work for something like this, but I do have some Thinlits, so I thought I would give those a try and see if it would cut through the corrugated cardboard. And I didn't mind using my Thinlits. They say you shouldn't really use it for that, but I don't really use the Thinlits an over amount, so I'm not really worried about it. So, but just keep that in mind if you are using Thinlits. They do tell you that you shouldn't be doing stuff like this, but I gave it a go. And the first thing that I did is I did try to cut it out without doing anything to my cardboard, and as you can see here, I'll try to hold it up a bit, how it just didn't come out well, and the cardboard is fraying and it didn't do well at all. Well, the next time when I did it, the first thing that I did is I cut the first layer, not cut, but I ripped the first layer of paper on the cardboard right now. And so I just ripped this front piece off, and then once I got rid of this the top layer of paper, it cut a lot smoother. So I just sat there and ripped the top layer off of the cardboard here. This one seems to be not wanting to come off as easy as my other one. But you get the idea. You just take the first layer off. You just keep on ripping until you just have the corrugated part showing, like right here. And then you'll have something like this showing. And I don't mind leaving some bits and pieces all around. And so then what I do is, the size of Thinlit that I used was the middle one. And then after I put this in my Big Shot, and I put it in the sandwich that you do, I did use a shim, and the shim that I used was this gift bag. So that way I put this on top of my sandwich, the 3 pieces, and then so the bottom plate, the platform, and then the top plate, and then on top of the top plate I put this, and then I ran it through my Big Shot, and then it just cuts it perfectly. And then the back you can see the back as well. There's no ripped edges. It's all really nice. So I did that for all of my snowflakes. And then I'm going to keep this to use as a stencil for myself, so I can spray some pages, journal pages. So this I am going to keep as well, because I thought that would be nice as a template. Well, after I did that, then I got this. This is Aleene's True Snow. Now, I did not buy this at the store. I was at a thrift store one time with my daughter, and I came across this, and I walked by it a couple times, but then we came to it, and then I'm like, oh, that's that stuff that people are using. And so for 50 cents, I thought I'd give it a try, and I do like it. With all honesty, though, I'm not gonna, I will use this, but I don't think I'll repurpose it. I think you could get the same effect if you just use plaster or spackling, whatever you want to call it, drywall spackling or plaster, because I don't see anything special, particularly to this type of thing. So I do like it, but I don't think I'll repurpose it, like repurchase it, like in a store. And then after I did that, it turns out like this. I thought this, now this, I put a little bit too much of it on this one, but I thought it looked really cute. And then I used, when it was still wet, I used some glitter I had from the dollar store. I just used some glitter, and then I try to shake it off as much as I can while it's still wet, so that way the recipient doesn't get glitter all over. And then after I did the glitter, I inked it all up, and I inked it all with archival ink and potting soil. And then it becomes a little darker in color like this. And then the next thing that I do is I have some eyelets, and I got these at the thrift store. And I use these, just, they're really, really small. I couldn't tell you, it doesn't say on the container here how big they are. It just has a warning label right here, but it just, they're super small. And there's a lot in there, so I thought I would just use them for this, so that way the twine wouldn't rip from the snowflake. So I wanted it in there securely. So I did put a hole at the top, and then I did put this eyelet in. So that's the next thing that I did. And then after I put the eyelet in, and then you just decorate. And so for this one, now I wanted to keep one thing common with all my snowflakes. And the thing that I chose to be the one thing that each one has is obviously the tag, but then also this bow I made out of this really thin twine. So I did do that. And then I showed you this before where I put some tulle and some cheesecloth and a bell. And so that was my first one. So I did that one. And then my next one that I did is this one. I wanted it kind of like a wintry scene type of a thing. And so all I did with this one is I glued on some cheesecloth on the bottom. I have this wood piece, and the wood pieces I just get at the, I had bought like a big package of them at the Dollar Tree, and they're in my stash. So all I did is I stamped a number, and this one I used the archival ink and potting soil for the number, because I did try stamping it with the red that I used for the tags, but the red didn't come out nice on the wood, so I decided just to do it in the brown. And then what I just did is I glued it, again, cheesecloth, and then I just glued a scrap piece of plaid material with, I forget the name of that, but I'll write it on the screen. And then I used some yarn that looks like there's snowballs on it. And then I tied that same twine right here, just to keep something the same on each one. And then I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but on the tips of it, on all the tips of the snowflakes, I did use a Wink of Stella brush on all the tips, because at first I was thinking about putting on those small gems, but I didn't want it to look too much, you know, and so I just put that so that way it would have some glitter, but not over much. So that's what I did for another one. And then for the last one, I really wanted to do a plain one. So I came up with with the smaller one, is I just sewed on it. So I just put it in my sewing machine and then just randomly sewed up and down, up and down. And then I put the tag on it, and then all I did for a little decoration is I had some jump rings that I had also got at the Dollar Tree at some point, and then I got my button jar on, and then I just made a long string to make it kind of look like an icicle as well. And that is all I did for my other advent calendar tags. I wanted them to be all different. At first I was going to make them all the same, but then I thought, I wanted something different for each gift. And so this is what I chose to come up with for this year, is I came up with snowflakes and then icicles. And so that is what I wanted to share with you today. So when you're looking at your corrugated cardboard, maybe you like to make yourself, these can be really good for Christmas tags just on gifts. They can be used for even in journals. You can use it as a tuck space. You might not be able to put, obviously, a thick layer of things on it, the dimensional things, but this would be really cute. This one with the sewing stuck in a journal, and you can use it as a tuck spot. I'm going to be doing that for my journals this winter as well. Just an extra little bit of decorating for our journals. That's a little bit adds a little bit of texture in our journals, and something a little bit different, something that maybe unexpected, I guess you would say. So I really appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that you guys are staying warm, and I'll see you in my next video. And don't forget, let's not throw away our junk. Let's journal with it. Take care, guys.